Welcome back to Studio Film Recaps, where we bring unforgettable stories to life. Today's film is more than just a drama. It's a desperate plea, a moral dilemma, and a father's unbreakable promise. It asks a question we all fear facing. What would you do when love alone isn't enough to save your child? Stay with us. Every moment matters. A clear country road, blue skies, a girl behind the wheel. Her hair dances in the wind as music plays through the speakers. The road ahead is calm. Then impact. A violent collision. Metal twists. Glass explodes into silence. No screams, just stillness. We don't know who she is. Not yet. But what happened to her sets something else in motion. John Quincy Archibald, a factory worker with calloused hands and tired eyes, tries to make ends meet. His wife, Denise, works weekends. Their son, Michael, is their joy. They joke over breakfast and while traveling together. Cheer from the baseball bleachers. Life isn't perfect, but it's full. It's full of love. And like many families in America, they live paycheck to paycheck, unaware of how fragile their peace truly is. At a weekend baseball game, Michael rounds a base. He smiles at his parents in the stands, then suddenly, he grabs his chest, stumbles, and falls. The world stops. Denise screams. John races across the field. He carries his boy to the truck and drives like hell to the ER. The hospital's fluorescent lights hum overhead as John and Denise sit in a small consultation room, the kind where bad news always seems to find you. A doctor enters, chart in hand, eyes down. Professional, polite, but distant. He clears his throat and delivers the words no parent ever wants to hear. Your son is in heart failure. It's called cardiomegaly. His heart is abnormally enlarged. It's not pumping the way it should. Denise's breath catches. John leans forward, trying to make sense of it, trying to hold on. We're going to do everything we can to stabilize him, the doctor continues, but Michael will need a heart transplant. And soon, time slows. The words hang in the air like fog. Transplant, surgery, a failing heart. Denise grabs John's hand. He doesn't move. He can't. What are our options? John asks, voice tight. The doctor hesitates. The hospital's white walls don't soften the blow. Doctors explain the transplant process coldly, efficiently. We'll need to verify your insurance, and then get him evaluated for the transplant list. There's no comfort. No certainty, only cold language, and the first quiet crack in John's hope. The doctor told John and Denise, you have to pay at least $75,000 down payment just to get Michael on the transplant list. John stares across the table. The people who can save his son are choosing not to. John consulted their work admin and was told that his insurance won't cover the operation. His factory hours were cut. His policy was downgraded. He's now classified as a part-time employee. We're sorry. You're underinsured. Just like that. Michael is ineligible for the transplant list. John pleads with administrators, insurers, doctors, but everywhere he hears the same phrase. There's nothing more we can do. He's not a man without options. He's a man without permission. John and Denise try everything. They apply for aid. Ask friends for help. Sell furniture. John even considers crowdfunding on local news, but time is running out. Michael's condition is worsening. After selling their truck, the phone rang. John answers, "It's Denise." Her voice trembles. They're discharging him, John. They said there's nothing more they can do. John freezes, his mind struggling to process it. She's trying to stay strong, but John can hear it. The fear, the desperation. The mother who's just been told her child's life isn't worth the price tag. We have to do something, she says. They're giving up on him. John looks stunned. The world keeps moving, but for him, everything stops. Early one morning, John enters the hospital calmly, focused, a man with nothing left to lose. He talked to the doctor and discussed their decisions about his son, but the doctor told him that there's nothing that he can do. The administrator makes the decision. John stared toward the doctor, then pulled a handgun from his coat. "I'm sorry," he says, "but nobody leaves until my son gets a heart transplant." The doctor nodded out of fear. Panic explodes across the room. Screams echo down the hallway. Nurses duck behind desks. A security guard reaches for his radio, but John lifts the gun with trembling hands. He shuts the ER doors, locks them from the inside. Hostages, patients, doctors, they're trapped, and the world outside has no idea yet. John isn't there to hurt anyone. He just wants answers, justice, mercy, something. He begins checking rooms, clears out non-emergencies, moves people to safety. This is not a man out for violence. This is a father, desperate, cornered, and fighting for the only thing that matters, his child. One by one, police cruisers pull up. SWAT vans follow close behind. Officers leap out, securing the perimeter. A hostage situation is unfolding, and the entire city is watching. Inside, John paces the ER, calm but clearly unraveling. The weight of what he's doing is setting in, but so is the clarity. John keeps the ER calm. He treats the patients with respect, hands out food, offers water. The radio from the guard buzz. A deep voice on the line introduces itself. "Lieutenant Frank Grimes, hostage negotiator. I'm here to listen." At first, John doesn't want to talk. He doesn't trust the voice on the other end, doesn't trust the system that failed his son. But Grimes is steady, professional, almost gentle. "I'm a father too," Grimes says. "Let's keep everyone safe." "Talk to me." John's voice cracks, raw with pain. "I've done everything right. I worked hard. I paid my taxes, and they still told me that they can't help my son." Outside, the police prepare for any outcome. Inside, Grimes listens, not just to calm John, but to understand him. Hours have passed. Tension buzzes like static electricity. Every eye on John, every moment charged with uncertainty. One man, agitated, impatient, suddenly lashes out. He lunges at John and stabs him in the shoulder with a pocket knife. The struggle is chaotic. John's gun slips from his grip, clattering to the floor and skidding across the tile. The attacker shouts at his girlfriend, "Pick it up!" But instead of obeying, she pauses. Her eyes flick between the gun and the man who's hurt her too many times before. In one bold act of defiance, she reaches not for the gun, but for a can of pepper spray and blasts it into her boyfriend's face. He stumbles back, screaming in pain. John seizes the moment, retrieves the gun, and handcuffs the attacker to a gurney. The ER falls silent once again, but something has shifted. John decided to release some of the patients, a mother with a child, a pregnant lady, and his spouse as a sign of trust with the police and Frank. Outside, reporters swarmed the freed hostages. What was it like in there? Is he dangerous? One of them pauses, then answers plainly. He's a good man. He just wants to save his boy. Back inside, a plan begins to unfold. Lieutenant Frank Grimes and one of the doctors secretly conspire to tell Denise that Michael has been added to the transplant list, even though it's a lie. They hope that by letting her speak to John, they can convince him to surrender peacefully. But while they're working behind the scenes, the chief of police is making a different plan, one that doesn't involve negotiation. SWAT is preparing to infiltrate the hospital, with or without Frank's approval. When Frank finds out, he pleads with the chief to stop, but the chief refuses. And in an act of bureaucratic coldness, he relieves Frank of duty. Denise called John to tell him what happened and was told that they included Michael on the transplant list and they will pay for everything. John talked to his son and said, "You're going to be okay, son. I'm not going to let you die." During this moment, the police are infiltrating the hospital. While this is all happening, one of the broadcasters was able to hack the police frequency and release the footage live while John is talking to his wife. America is watching. A shot was fired and John got hit. The police officer fell from the ceiling. John stood up and attacked the police officer. The cameras capture everything. Everyone saw what happened on TV. Frank was reinstated to the case by the chief of police. John confronted Frank while he's holding the cop who shot him. He doesn't hurt him, only uses the moment to make one final demand. On the streets, protesters gather and cheer for John. John demands to transfer his son to this hospital. Right now. Across the city, people begin to take sides. In the chaos, the doctor returns with grim news. He's deteriorating fast. Without a heart transplant, Michael won't make it. John looks at him and makes a decision no parent should ever have to make. Take mine, he says. Take my heart. Give it to my son. The doctor freezes, then explains that it's not that simple. It's extremely complicated. There are several critical tests that need to be taken, including cross-match blood type, chest measurements, and a lot more. John insists on taking his heart. The doctor declined. John said, "If I'm lying on the floor dead, you're not going to take my heart and put it in my son to save him. You let 2 people die instead of 1 because of a technicality." The hostages plead to John that he needs to accept the situation about his son and believe in God. John refuses to give up. He rejected all their reasoning. The doctor said that his crossing the line is unethical. Doctor asked what he will do if he refuses to operate. Shoot me? John said, "No, I'll shoot myself. I'm his father. It has to be me." The doctor paused with no other option. He agreed to John's demand. Even though the doctor's reputation will be at stake, he said that if there's a heart available, he'll not waste it. As nurses begin preparing the operating room, John sits beside Michael, heartbroken but steady. John talks to his son. "Always listen to your mother. When you like a girl, treat her like a princess. If you say you'll do something, you do it. That's your word. That's your bond. Don't smoke. Be kind. Stay out of trouble." Tears flowed down John's face. Kiss his son goodbye. John prepares to unalive himself. Suddenly, a phone call comes through. There's been an accident. It's the girl from the opening scene. Her death gave another child a chance to live. A heart has become available, a match for Michael. The doctor told Denise the good news. Denise calls John, frantic with hope, but John hangs up the phone and continues to prepare to unalive himself. Denise rushes to the hospital, bangs at the door, screaming through the ER doors, "There's a miracle. We found a donor." The doors burst open, the hostages are released, and John quietly surrenders. The hostages were released, and John was arrested quietly without a struggle. "So they thought," Frank laughed. John and his wife were with his son throughout the operation. After a few hours, the operation was successful. Michael made it. The nightmare is over. Their son is alive. John and Denise were ecstatic with joy. John saved his son. John surrendered. In court, his actions are debated. Protesters flood the steps. The nation is divided. But to many watching, John Q is not a villain. He is every parent who's ever been told no when the stakes were life and death. In the end, this wasn't just about hospital walls or legal red tape. It was about one man who stood alone against an entire system because his son's life was worth everything. A man who didn't just fight, he sacrificed. If this story moved you, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing for more cinematic journeys that cut straight to the heart. Would you sacrifice everything to save your loved one? Please tell us in the comments section below. Thank you for watching Studio Film Recaps features John Q.